If you guys wanted another reason why to go vegan, here it is.
Recently, I read a research that compared livestock or the key meat companies in terms of carbon footprint versus big oil companies. Now, we would think that the Exxon Mobils of the world are the evil in terms of carbon footprint. But shockingly, when you look at the top 5 meat companies, their combined carbon footprint is bigger than the top oil companies in the world. We are like a runaway train right now, and we are accelerating, but the cliff is here. So it's only a matter of time. In fact, I think it's happening already. We can't ignore the fact that animal agriculture has a massive impact on the oceans. We've got these dead zones that are being created because of the incredible amounts of nitrogen being put into the oceans. We've got coral reefs bleaching and dying, and we have to acknowledge that animal agriculture is one of the leading causes of global warming. As 1 out of 3 fish that's being caught in the oceans is being used to feed animals, and overfishing is a massive problem that we have to deal with if we want to survive as a species on this planet, then we have to seriously review our eating habits.
The whole world is obsessed today with, cutting down plastic straw consumption. But the reality of it is that if you take all the straws around the world and you put them all into the ocean, that is still less than 0.1% of the plastic that goes into the ocean every year. In fact, more than 40% of the plastic that goes into the ocean is plastic fishing nets.
When I was 14 years old, I saw a picture of a dead minke whale being pulled up the slipway of an 8,000-ton factory whaling ship operating in the Antarctic. And that image really struck a chord to me. It became symbolic of this devastating relationship that we as a species have with the oceans. I think, like most people, I thought that whaling was something that had ended in the 70s or 80s, that this was a victory of the conservation movement. So to find out that not only was it still happening, but it was happening despite the fact that there was a global moratorium on whaling made me feel the need to get involved and stop that crime from taking place. In the 1950s, there were over 50 industrial factory whaling ships operating in the Antarctic at any one time. Only one of those remain. It's a ship called the Nishin Maru. It's 8,000 tons, and it goes down to the Southern Ocean every single year and conducts illegal whaling in a designated whale sanctuary. This is the vessel that I saw a picture of when I was 14 years old, and a vessel that had haunted my dreams ever since. I spent 10 years working with Sea Shepherd chasing the Nishin Maru around the Southern Ocean. And one of the most harrowing experiences that my crew and I had was when we were put in a position to block that 8,000-ton factory whaling ship from refueling, knowing that if we could cut off their fuel supply, then we would force them to head home early, cutting their whaling season short. I remember it was a very weird